Hello and welcome to Fire Headlines, where we discuss the hottest topics in fire service news. I'm your host, Samantha Didion. Our topic this week is work-life balance for first responders. Joining me on the panel today to explore this topic is instructor, researcher, speaker, and author, Dr. Donnie Hutchinson. Dr. Donnie has worked with first responders around the country to educate and inspire them on how to lead a better life, have work-life balance, and better improve their self-care. Let's get into this week's conversation.
Well, thank you for having me on the podcast, Samantha. And why is self-care and work-life balance so crucial? First, I think it's important to try to define what work-life balance is, because a lot of people have different definitions and perceptions of work-life balance. So I sort of like to always start there a little bit, is that work-life balance, for me, I have a couple definitions. One, it's about aligning your daily behaviors with your priorities in life. So if we think about that, daily behaviors with priorities in life, we might think about, is self-care, taking care of our physical health, our mental health, our social health, and our spiritual health. Is that important? Well, based upon all the tens of thousands of firefighters that I've taught, I would say about 98, 99% raise their hand when I ask if health and family is important. So health is important. So I think that's part of it. So when we look at it, self-care becomes sort of the underpinning for work-life balance, because we have to take care of ourselves, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we may not be around to take care of our family, and we may not be, and then if we're not there for them, probably not going to be there for a career either. So they sort of go hand in hand, if you will.
And in your experience, what are the most common challenges that first responders face when trying to maintain a work-life balance?
I have found that they're in the service business, right? Public safety, service, and they're in the give. So they have the mindset it's to always give, and they give even when they don't have anything left to give. It's sort of like trying to pour out of an empty cup, and I find that they continue to pour even though their cup's empty. And they often, one of the biggest challenges that I see is that they feel guilty if they would refill their cup. And what do I mean by refilling their cup? They feel guilty if they would go sleep, or they feel guilty if they take time to eat a healthier meal, or they may, because it's time away, or if they take time to go exercise. It's that mindset, type A personalities, to where we're in here, we're going to solve problems, we're going to get the job done at all costs. Unfortunately, we're starting to learn that those all costs are extremely high when we get into the health risks, mind, body, spirit, family risks, and career risks. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest challenges is shifting that mindset that it's not just okay to take care of ourselves, it's absolutely required.
And what are some of the steps that you help first responders take to change that mindset?
Well, there's many of them. As you know, I deliver a workshop, and we go over quite a bit of this. But I would say some of the steps that I do, some that have the most, or that are most impactful, if you will, is understanding a concept called spillover theory. And spillover theory is simply what we do in one role in our life spills over into another role, or other roles too. And it can spill over in a beautiful way, or it can wreak havoc in our lives. And when I take them through those exercises to get them to understand it, and then identify it and start becoming aware of it, and then figure out, oh, wait a minute, what kind of behaviors could I change so I can get rid of that really negative spillover? Or what behaviors can I do to keep that positive spillover going, or create it? And I'll give you a simple example of some spillover, such as if you ever ask someone that exercises regularly, and I'll say, well, why do you exercise regularly? What's it do for you? And they'll say, oh, it makes me feel better. And dig down a little bit further than that. I go, what do you mean it makes you feel better? Well, I'm less stressed after I have a good workout. And I say, absolutely, you're less stressed. So when you take care of a physical health need, of exercise, it spills over into the mental health need of it's managing your stress. So that's a great positive spillover. My personal negative spillover, number one, that I always talk about is when I eat too much for lunch, I drag all afternoon and I get a little grouchy. I'm slow and I get grouchy because when I drag, I get unproductive. And when I'm unproductive, I get grouchy. And it's like, all from what? From how much I ate at lunch. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I should be able to manage that. So then I think, okay, I'm aware. Now I need to align my daily behavior with my priorities. I want to be productive. I want to be healthy. So I'll manage what I eat at lunch.
Okay, thank you for those examples. That helps, put the picture in our heads. So, in the kind of the same tone, what are some common misconceptions about achieving success in health in both work and home for first responders?
The biggest misconception is they believe they need to choose one or the other. And it's not just between work, home, but it's also with their health. And then if we break the health down, well, okay, I can be physically healthy, but maybe not mentally fit. Or, or I can be very, very successful in a career, but something's got to give. It's going to be my health. It's going to be my sleep. It's going to be my family. I hear all the time about how their families suffer and they sacrifice. And sometimes though, as we have honest conversations, if I decide to work, and not take care of myself, and then if I'm not around for my family, it's actually not their choice to sacrifice. You're making them sacrifice because you're not there or you're not taking care of yourself. So the misconception, though, is that they feel like they have to choose between this or that. And it's actually not true, because the more evidence is out there, it's what my research was about with work-life balances. The greater we care for ourselves, the more effective we can be with our families and our career. The higher we can go, whatever high means in a career for someone. And there's more and more research about that. And sometimes when we step back and just think about it, we do need to, because we just don't want to be success when sometimes we say successful. I call it sustainable success, not just success for the next 3 years or until you get the promotion. I'm talking about your whole career journey and then post-retirement success. Because I think everyone's goal would be they want to retire healthy. Not just, physical health, mental health, social, spiritual health, family intact, great relationships, and then have a very long retirement. I think that's the ultimate goal. And that's where we get back to like how I try to define work-life balance. For me, it's truly about it's a commitment to excellence. And that's what it is. It's a commitment to excellence between our faith, family, career, and health. And if we keep that in mind, what are we trying to do? We're trying to be excellent in all of those areas. They're all important, but we get caught up in different things. We get caught up in running really hard sometimes in our career. Not sometimes, oftentimes. And then sometimes we look back over our shoulder and it's like, wow, where'd that 3 to 5 years go? So it's just about keeping things top of mind, keeping our eye on the ball of what's important, and making sure each day, we align our daily behaviors with those priorities.
That's very, very well said. So my final question for you is, how can organizations better support their employees in achieving a healthy work-life balance?
This is an easy one. It doesn't have anything to do with policy either. But if you think of a pie chart and you take less than a quarter of the pie, more like 20% of the pie, so a little slither of the pie, those are the ones in the department that are practicing healthy behaviors, total wellness behaviors. Their physical health, their mental health, social, spiritual, family health, career health. They're doing it really well. 20% of the organization. Okay. And then you bring in a trainer that trains on, behavioral health, work-life balance, things like that, train in this space, and you make it voluntary for people to sign up. Guess who who volunteers to sign up? It's the same 20%. It's the ones that are already doing it really well. It's all the others that truly need the help, but they're not going to volunteer to go. So they need encouragement. Now, it can be mandated. You bring a trainer in, say, okay, each crew, we're rotating through. They know how to do it. Or it can be fire service leaders going and putting their arm around someone and being vulnerable and saying, you know what, Samantha, I don't have this all figured out myself. I have things that I need to work on. We all do. I really want you at this training. Would you come? And we become more human with them, right? We take off the chief badge, and we're just another person, another human being that struggles with these things too. It's a tough, being excellence, pursuing excellence in all these roles in our life is very, very challenging. Very challenging. We all need help, need mentors and guidance and everything. So the biggest thing that fire service leaders can do, or any public service leaders, public safety, is inclusivity. Yeah, we've got to get them into the training, and then let your trainers hire great trainers. Let your trainers do their job, because a great trainer will turn that person, because we can spot them. We know this is the last place on earth they want to be during that half-day seminar, right? We know it. We can spot them, and we work them though, and we get them to soften up, and they come around, and their lives are changed. It's a beautiful thing. It truly is.
Thank you. And I know that you offer some resources. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah. And they can go to firstrespondercenter.org. That's the company website. And I also have a DonnieHutchinson.com website, but going more into the company website, to where, we put on half-day workshops, and it's truly it's a proactive behavioral health. It's teaching everyone how to be proactive in this, so that we start fixing the small issues in life, if you will, before everyone falls out of the raft and, we're scrambling to find a therapist. We're taking care of things, fixing the small things in life, patching those things up so they don't become big. And but they can find information about that on the website. And also, we have an app or it's actually a digital learning management system that goes into, such as like what I mentioned about spillover, runs a host of different lessons. A lot of times I like to say it's a post-workshop piece that we like to offer to departments, because we all know that we can go to a workshop, we get excited, we have materials, even a workbook to take home, and we get excited, and you look back 2 weeks later and it's like, wait a minute, where'd that thing go? We fail to pick them up. So having something, and that's what we developed too, is called Balance Boost, is to keep things top of mind. It's to, ideally is to give company officers and peer support teams top tray tools, if you will, so where they can have this behavioral health from a proactive side as part of the discussion, the dinner table conversations, to even conversations that firefighters can have with their spouses, significant others, and partners and children, because these are just lessons for them. Who doesn't need help in understanding their spillover, or who doesn't need help understanding how to build a healthy habit? Just all kinds of things in there. So, but yes, and they can also reach out to me at Donnie at DonnieHutchinson.com. All that information's on the website. Be happy to chat about anyone's training needs, or if I can help with any other resources and perhaps point them in a direction that would be helpful.
Thank you, Dr. Donnie, for joining us this week, and thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Any of the material we discussed during this episode can be found in the show notes. If you have a question for the panel, please reach out to us at fireheadlines@wfca.com and let us know what's on your mind. We'll see you back here next week for more Fire Headlines.